I will keep my opening remarks brief. As the late, great Ralph Wilson would say, move it along. No one wants to listen to a speech when the bar is closed. And trust me, I just tried to get a drink and the bar is closed, so it's something I greatly believe in. Maybe get a double cross on the rocks with olives, Annie, right after this would be great. Thank you. Plus, I know it was mentioned earlier by Warren, that you're going to be asking me a lot of questions, and I'm really, really looking forward to that relative to, I know there's a lot of closet WGR listeners out there that can't wait to get their hands on me, so I'm looking forward to it. And we will do that with the assistance of BuffaloBills.com beat reporter Chris Brown, who is right here at our table. I do have to admit, it is hard not to reflect and look back to where we have come as a community since I came back to Buffalo nearly 2 decades ago. As I often say, there has never been a better time to be a Buffalonian. I like to think, as I stand here on behalf of the business community and the leadership of our region, I am blessed to be associated with so many talented executives, many of whom are in attendance tonight. You are the shining examples of individuals and companies investing in Buffalo and making a true impact on the quality of our life while developing our future leaders. Buffalo is certainly on the rise, and it is because of the all-in cohesive leadership of both the public and private sectors in our community. We have a very exciting future ahead of us. As I tell our staffs every day, while we look through the windshield and focus on the future, we would not be where we are without peeking in the rearview mirror occasionally. It is important to recognize and honor the past, and I think I speak for all of us that the success that we are enjoying today was assisted by a man I mentioned earlier, the late Hall of Fame owner of the Buffalo Bills, Ralph Wilson. Ralph understood that the Bills are the fabric of Western New York, and it was often stated that his relentless passion was only matched by the people in this room, our fans and our stakeholders. He was a man of true integrity, and most importantly, he was a man of his word, and his handshake was his bond. His loyalty, at times, on the outside, was questioned, but not for those like myself who were privileged to work for him. It was all about building a model, which we started when I joined the organization in 1997, on keeping the Bills viable in the new economic world of the NFL. The goal was simple: build a business that was sustainable to thrive long-term in our region, and when sold, hopefully kept in Western New York. I guess I can say, mission accomplished. Looking back at our original white paper, we accomplished much of our initial plan, but it was highlighted by building a regional business model by moving training camp to Rochester and expanding our brand to Southern Ontario. As many of you know, the formula worked because on any given Sunday at Ralph Wilson Stadium, 30 to 35% of our fans are from those regions, and that was a key part in keeping this team here and viable in Western New York. We also structured a very creative lease with our partners at the county and our partners at the state that made relocation very prohibitive. And the result is what you all know. We sold the franchise for $1.4 billion, an NFL record, and most importantly, thanks to the Pegulas, we took the anvil off our collective shoulders regarding the future of the Bills, and we threw it directly in the bottom of Lake Erie. And by the way, Mr. Wilson's foundation was created with the proceeds from that sale and will benefit our community for generations and generations to come. It was the ultimate win-win scenario. While that was a glimpse of the past, the present and the future is even brighter thanks to the unwavering commitment to our community by Terry and Kim Pegula. Let's take a quick look at what's on the horizon at Pegula Sport and Entertainment. Pretty cool stuff. When I joined the Bills 19 years ago, I could have never imagined that I'd be standing here representing not only the Bills, but also the Buffalo Sabres, Harbor Center, Black River Entertainment, the Rochester Americans, the Buffalo Bandits, and all the other ventures that the Pegulas have launched over the past few years. As you can imagine, managing the depth of properties successfully requires vision, innovation, and great workforce talent. That's exactly what Kim Pegula brought to the table when she launched the creation of Pegula Sport and Entertainment in 2014. Our core mission is very clear. Every employee knows the importance of trust, belief, character, discipline, and the commitment to excellence are the Pegula, and what the Pegulas, what they believe in the businesses that we operate. Additionally, our business goals are very simple. It's to centralize our business verticals under one roof while creating an efficient process through cross-property collaboration. This has created a consistent culture to leverage our properties to deliver better results to our partners. So far, our results have exceeded even our expectations. For the first time in franchise history, the Bills are over 60,000 season tickets. Additionally, we set a franchise record in merchandise sales, and we are in the top 5 in local TV ratings in all meaningful social media platforms in the National Football League. And as we head down to the First Niagara Center with the Sabres, we continue to maintain 16,000 season ticket holder base with a very healthy waiting list. Again, our local TV ratings are #1 in the NHL, and I think exciting times are ahead with the many young stars that are on the rise. While the Sabres and the Bills are certainly the most prominent of our PSE entities, they are not the only ones enjoying success. With the Marriott and retail shops open, the Harbor Center facility is now 100% operational. It's hosted international hockey tournaments, the NHL Combine, and continues to draw praise both internationally and nationally. Meanwhile, 716 Food and Sport has become a staple in the Buffalo area, and it's a must-visit for all sports fans. The Rochester Americans, they are the second oldest franchise in the AHL and are celebrating their 60th anniversary this year. And the Bandits just set off on their 25th season and continue to be one of the top attended franchises in the National Lacrosse League. And getting outside of Western New York, down in Nashville, Black River Entertainment has a legitimate star in Kelsey Ballerini. Her debut single, yeah, all right, little Kelsey love. Her debut single reached #1 on the charts, making her only one of 11 solo artists, female artists, to accomplish this feat in recording history. And her second single is on pace to be another massive hit. The past year has certainly been full of successes for the PSC organization, but in no way does that mean we're done. In fact, we're just getting started. This spring, we have both the NHL Combine and the NHL Draft heading to Buffalo. Next spring, we are bringing March Madness back to the First Niagara Center for college basketball fans throughout our region. In 2018, we are honored to bring back the World Junior Hockey Championships that will include, for the first ever time in World Junior history, an outdoor game that will be played at Ralph Wilson Stadium. And more than likely, that will be USA versus Canada. Obviously, the collective economic impact to our area with these events is enormous. And let's not forget the concert series at the First Niagara Center. And this past year, we had record numbers, and that was spotlighted by Paul McCartney's visit. And this year, we're off to a great start with superstars like Bruce Springsteen coming back and Justin Bieber. Did I just call Justin Bieber a superstar? Yeah, Justin Bieber, Bruce Springsteen, that's my fault. I hope this is not on YouTube or anything. As we've said, as Frank said earlier, the momentum in Buffalo is real. And the Pegulas and we at PSC are honored to play a small supporting role in lifting up our great city. We certainly look forward to what the future holds and hope we can continue to contribute to boosting our economy, creating new jobs, and raising our global profile. And quite frankly, that's why I'm standing here tonight, on the shoulders of so many people that believe we can make a true impact in our region. And I promise you this, I will continue to stand here until we deliver what all of you want the most, a Super Bowl championship and the opportunity to hold Lord Stanley's Cup. Thank you very much. Now the fun part begins, I think.
Russ, before you start your Q&A, a little something for you here.
Oh, thanks, man.
You know,
Appreciate that very much.
there's not too many funny things on here. But thanks a lot.
Thank
And
you.
Turn it over to you for the
Thank you very
questions.
much.
Yeah, have a seat.
Not sure, are these working, are these on?
We're just going to have a little technical difficulty. 1 second, we get the mics going, and I'm going to give this one to Chris. Take those.
Hey, everybody, Chris Brown here from BuffaloBills.com. Russ, sit wherever you like. You're the boss, you get to pick, so. Before we get started, with all this business talk, I felt it was necessary, although I'm sure a bunch of you saw it already, the Forbes.com listing yesterday, listing Buffalo as one of the top 10 happiest cities to work in. Buffalo checked in at number 10. And there are some pretty big markets that were listed there. I wasn't happy to see Miami #1, but that's another story. We'll work on catching those guys, but I really think that's something to be proud of as well. Checking in at number 10 with some big cities in there, LA, Miami. I mean, I think we're really kind of raising the bar here in Buffalo, and you know, I think that deserves a round of applause. I mean, something that we can all be proud of.
Did you say happiest?
Happiest cities to work in. When the Bills are winning and
Yeah.
the Sabres are winning, and
Tell me
right?
that on Monday morning after a loss.
I don't know if Mondays were included in the equation, so I just want to remind everybody the cards are on your tables. Feel free to jot down any questions, and Russ did make the painstaking plunge to say, yes, Sabres and Bills questions are open for discussion. That's on you, boss, not me, so you'll take what you get here for the most part. But obviously, if there are some business-related questions too, feel free to fire those off as well, and Ann will get them up to me, and we'll get as many in as we can here in the allotted amount of time.
The sad part for me is I know 90% of the people in this room, and I know some of the questions that may be coming. I saw Paul Stasiak here earlier. I can't imagine what he's going to ask. And it'll be a lot of fun. But I'll give you my canned answers on some things when I have to.
I think the first one, you know, that we should start off with, just for you personally, I mean, you know, taking on the additional presidential title of the Sabres chiefly, and then, you know, the Amerks and the Bandits under that, is how you are planning your weeks, you know, with your administrative people and your support staff. How are you balancing all of that in light of what you've taken on here recently?
Well, a few people have asked me that question tonight, and I think I speak for everyone in the room that run businesses, that none of us can do it without great people. And certainly fortunate to be with the Bills for 19 years and have a workforce of talented executives that have worked for me for many years. And as you know, all of you know that, you know, while the Bills and Sabres used to compete for the corporate dollar and for fan support, we worked very closely with our friends at the Sabres back in the day. And walking into that situation was really seamless. It's a great staff there and people who have really done an excellent job. Yeah, I think taking on the COO role at PSE has been very interesting from the standpoint of all the different entities when you talk about not only, you know, the sports teams, but all the other entities that we talked about earlier with Harbor Center, 716, Impact, Black River Entertainment. That certainly is a wide-ranging portfolio that is only going to benefit our community.
So first one on deck here. This one comes from Jenny Kaltman from our Geico local office, and she asks, where do you see the Buffalo Bills Stadium in 10 years? In Orchard Park or the city?
Wow.
Coming out swinging here right now.
With a left hook. You know, it's funny, when I walked in here tonight, there was a reporter from Channel 4 that was standing in the hallway and asked me that exact same question. And I'll tell all of you exactly what I told her. There's a lot of speculation for the reasons we all know about a potential new facility. We are still working through the renovations of Ralph Wilson Stadium, of the $130 million renovation that we put forth 2 years ago. We still are working on punch list items. So we think that that renovation has served us very well. We used to joke that we were serial renovators back in the day with the renovation that we had in '98 to really boost us up to the new NFL economy, which I mentioned earlier. And listen, I don't think anyone would say that, you know, we don't like to get a new car or a new house or, you know, a new suit. But we also have to be practical as we move forward and very holistic and methodical and quantitative in how we approach a new building down the road. Because it needs to make economic sense for our community, and it needs to have a macro appeal to our fan base in a variety of ways. So I will say this, she asked me this question, and I'll tell you, there have been 0 conversations, no discussions, no land grabbing, no development talk, no quantitative metrics that we're working on, anything along those lines. We are working on Ralph Wilson Stadium and Ralph Wilson Stadium only at the time being. The lease is 10 years. We look forward to working through that lease and working with our partners at the county and the state and seeing what makes the best sense for our community in the future.
Kevin Brady from Evans Bank is going to ask about NFL franchise value. He's asking, in light of what the Pegulas paid to purchase the Bills, what would you say that's done to the average value of an NFL franchise today?
Well, it certainly was a very interesting and time, as everyone knows, when we went through the valuation of the Bills in selling the franchise. My proudest moment, and I always said that my proudest moment would be winning a Super Bowl. I had the opportunity to be a part of winning a World Series, and I want everyone in this room to feel that feeling. But I can promise you this, nothing will ever overtake the feeling of being in the room on October 8th when 32 hands, and I got a vote, so it was good, but when 32 hands went up in unison in 4 minutes to put the final touches of keeping the Bills in Buffalo. And I can promise you this, that the people that worked with us for 18 years at the time, our life's mission was to put the organization in a position to be sold and kept in Western New York. And sitting at that meeting and seeing every owner put their collective hands up was the greatest feeling of all time. And I can promise you this, last 2 Tuesdays ago, I was sitting in Houston at the league meeting and watched 3 teams work through the Los Angeles scenario. And I can promise you this, there wasn't an owner in that room that did not think that the Buffalo Bills would be in that equation at some point, and we weren't. And it's a credit to the fans, it's a credit to our stakeholders, the people in this room, and to the Pegulas, that we never have to worry about that again.
Yeah, well said. And I can tell you, I had the privilege of covering, what was going on there in October of, 2014 or 2015, or 2014. And I'm outside the room. And, all the owners are in the room, Russ is in the room with everybody else, and the Pegulas go in, and we were told the procedure was supposed to be the Pegulas go in, they say a few words, they exit, the vote happens, and then they come back in and they're told up or down. They went in one time, the doors closed, and within 30 seconds, there was audible applause from outside in the hallway, which I think just speaks to not only, the job that your team did, Russ, but I think what NFL ownership thought of the Pegulas. I mean,
No question. It was 8:32, the meeting started, and the vote took place at 8:36. I've probably been through 15 transactions in my career, and that was the first time that they didn't even need to get up and speak. The commissioner said, we want to move to vote. The vote took place, 32-0, and the Pegulas became the owners by 8:40.
Yeah.
So, but it took a village, and much like we're talking about tonight, our community, it never would have happened without the support of our region.
We'll switch gears here and go to the hockey side of the ledger, and this one comes from Matt Sikora from Turner Construction. Do you see another Winter Classic being played in Buffalo?
That's a good question, Matt. Our focus, and I can't tell you, when I knew that things were moving along with the Sabres at the end of July, I was going to a baseball tournament and going to training camp on Monday and found out what there was going to be. I was going to move over also to the Sabres on that Monday, and the first thing we did was hopped on a plane and went to Colorado Springs and really went after the World Junior Championships. I think everyone that was a part of it in 2011 knows what it means to this community. And it was a dogfight. And our focus really at the time, as I mentioned earlier, was trying to get the World Juniors back. And make no mistake, it was very difficult because they came back-to-back in the United States to Buffalo. And we had a lot of competition for the World Juniors from other markets, big markets. But we were able to land the juniors, and a big part of that was the outdoor game that we're going to have at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Speculation then came on to the Winter Classic being part and parcel with that, but there's a lot of moving parts. There's a little thing called the NFL schedule, too, that we have to work through. But our focus in 18 is on the outdoor game with the World Juniors, and the National Hockey League knows that we're very interested in having another Winter Classic in the very near future.
Here's an interesting one that comes from Chris Bellani from Colvin Cleaners. Has there been any discussion of bringing other professional sports to Buffalo, like soccer or basketball? I mean, you already have a very successful niche sport in the Bandits here.
Yes.
You know,
Can we just...
soccer would be a niche sport. I mean,
I know you're a soccer guy.
yeah, I know. That's why.
Can we just deal with the sports we
I know,
have for
I
right
know.
now?
Baby steps, right?
No, yeah, baby steps. No, that has not been discussed. Being from Syracuse and being a massive basketball fan like I am, I don't think you can write the history of this community without acknowledging the Buffalo Braves. And that's one thing, quite frankly, that I would like to see as we move forward in the arena in honoring the Braves and maybe even at some point trying to get some preseason NBA games in here if that's ever possible.
That did happen, I think, when the Odd was still up and running. They had a couple of Knick games up here. I do seem to remember, for some reason, Patrick Ewing coming to town. Let's move along here. We've got, I didn't have a chance to thumb through the next one, so forgive me for taking pause here. Here's a good one on the Sabres, although this might be a better question for Tim Murray than you, Russ, but
yeah.
take your best stab at it.
I'll let Frank answer it.
Jordan Matuzzo. He's saying, with where the Sabres are right now, there are rumors of Tim Murray wanting to trade a lot of current players. So what's the likelihood of another active trade season?
We will leave that to, I'm very blessed and fortunate to have two excellent and tremendous general managers in Doug Whaley and Tim Murray. And one thing I always tell people that talking about the sports business is fun. Talking about the business of sport is boring. And I work in the business of sport mainly. But from the standpoint of, my role is to support, provide resources, everything that our general managers need to be successful. In our business, both with the Sabres and with the Bills, the decisions on the rosters and all the movement within any of our teams is made by the general managers. We work very closely, but it is a very cohesive unit, and that's really what's provided us, I think, a nice runway with the Pegulas into the future is the continuity that we have between our head coach, Rex, and Doug Whaley, and then obviously Dan and Tim Murray. So I think we've got something very positive started with both teams.
Here's a two-part question, and it is more on the business side. What is it that Terry and Kim Pegula bring to this community more than anything else, and what is the role of PSE in Buffalo's future?
That's a very good question. Well, obviously, Terry and Kim bring, like I said earlier, an unwavering commitment, to our community. Tremendous passion. Terry, everything he has done for this community is to make this a better place and raise the profile. It's amazing when you're down at the arena and look out the window and see what's happened in just a few short years with Harbor Center and all the development that's around that location. So, we're committed to looking at opportunities and continuing to build in our great community, and that's something that we're very focused on. PSE is really the business arm of all of our sports teams. It's amazing to think that I actually spend probably more time there than I do at the Sabres and Bills, because 80% of our business units and verticals are based out of PSE. We have all of our finance, our media, our content, our marketing, our creative are all out of PSE. So our stadium operations crews are still at the stadium, but a big chunk of our Bills staff and Sabres staff are now housed out of the Creamery. And so it's made a significant change to both organizations over the past year and a half.
This kind of dovetails off of that from Chris Johnson at Veriview LLC. With so many entities under PSE, how do you maintain effective communication and collaboration?
Well, I always say that if communication works 99% of the time and you miss one thing, then all you hear is that communication is lousy. I'm sure we all deal with that in our businesses. But I think we have a very good structure. I have very strong executive teams at all of our location, and obviously it's all about empowering people. If you don't have people you trust and empower and believe in and have a commitment to, then you have the wrong people, and I believe you have the wrong management style. So from my standpoint, like I said earlier, I've been blessed to be with most of my staff in Buffalo here for 19 years. I brought most of these people in, they're still here, and then have able to develop other people to move into other roles. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the PSE aspect of it and all the different elements regarding, restaurants and hotels are certainly not my core discipline, but we have people that are focused on that and have done an outstanding job.
Got a little bit more of a personal question here with regard to your, business background, acumen. And Paul, forgive me if I mispronounce your last name, Diostrov. I tried. From Harbortown Financial Group. What was your best business decision that you ever made?
Best business decision I ever made was coming to Buffalo. I will certainly tell you, coming off of a World Series championship in '97, and I had already accepted the job here with the Bills. Mr. Wilson kept asking me why I would move from Miami to Buffalo. And, coming back home to my home region and being a part of an incredible ownership with Ralph. And I know I mentioned it in my remarks, but I hope that everyone in this room understands what he gave us. It was incredible to work for him, his loyalty and his commitment, and what he meant to this community. He never blinked. He never wavered during difficult times with the franchise. And what that brought us was the Pegulas. And we all know what they are bringing to our community. So we're extremely blessed. I looked at that video a few times over the past few months, and it's just amazing to me, and it's a blessing for all of us to see what's happening in Buffalo. And like I said, we're a very small part of what's going on. Or you hear Neil talk about M&T, when all the things that M&T has done, and all the businesses in here, Dave Anderson, the Blues, and Michael Kropp and Independent Health, all the people that are in here. It's amazing and truly a blessing to be associated with such great people.
We do have time for one last question here. And thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the attention. This one from the Buffalo Niagara Partnership. Where is your favorite Buffalo location? And restaurants do not count, Russ. So just a location here in Buffalo, something that, you like hanging out at or taking in with the family maybe, or?
Canal Side, for sure. I love Canal Side. It's tough not to mention, restaurants and bars. I'm pretty good at those.
I wanted to make it difficult for you. It would have been an easy.
Pretty good at those, but I don't really spend much time other than traveling and at work, as you know.
Right. All right, we'll wrap it up with that one. But thanks, everybody, for listening. And Russ, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.